Hello everyone, and you're very welcome to the Man United Agenda. It is Tuesday, and if you missed it earlier on, Colin was on and he did a show on that tragic injury news for Dorgu, so be sure to check it out, give him a like, share and subscribe. But we're here to talk about two things. Kobbie Mainoo and Roy Keane's outspoken remarks on Michael Carrick yesterday. So Kobbie Mainoo, obviously, for the last 12 months or so, has cut a forlorn figure on the subs bench, in the stands, just generally looked like he wasn't enjoying football. Now Michael Carrick is coming on an interim basis, and he seems to have received a new lease of life, for which Mainoo, before the Arsenal game on Sunday, called him untouchable in the Man United squad. But he's got a lot more applaudance today, and that's what we're going to talk about. First of all, there's Jamie Carragher. I'm not going to dwell too much on this because Mr. B and Yaba have bare interest in international football. But Jamie Carragher reckons that Kobbie Mainoo should be in the England World Cup squad in 2026. And that's obviously a far cry from playing football in the reserves nearly last year, because for some reason, Ruben Amorim did not like him and did not play.
He wasn't even playing in the reserves. He wasn't even playing in the reserves, Rebel. He wasn't getting any football. He was just sitting down there training and sitting on the bench. Okay.
What?
Sorry, go on.
The question I have for you is, after two games where Kobbie acquitted himself very well and showed us glimpses of why he got an international call-up all those years ago in the first place, is it a bit soon for pundits to be jumping on the bandwagon and saying, yeah, you're in the World Cup squad? Or is it a foreign game and he's one of the foreign midfielders, at least at the moment, and he has to be on the radar?
No, this is justified. This is good. Anyone who's endorsing Kobbie Mainoo, you have to respect, because they know football. As simple as that. Whatever sport, this applies to all sports, all right? This is a universal thing for me. If you can be comfortable, like my favorite boxer, James Toney, he's had 100 fights. He was never knocked out because in the ring, he's comfortable. He's not getting out of breath. He's not flustered. He's not rushing. He's doing his thing at his pace, at his level, and doing his thing. He's a fantastic boxer, and he backed it up with his mouth. Kobbie Mainoo hasn't got the mouth of James Toney, but what he does have is exactly the same. He has he's comfortable in his setting, what he's doing. He's not overawed by anything. He plays a simple, basic game, which is hard to do because everyone's trying to do too much these days. But this is why all the top pundits like him, because they realize in the arena when it really counts. Carragher gave example there against Holland last year, last two games. When it really counts, he's comfortable in that environment. He can do what he does without being phased. A lot of things go wrong for players because they don't have the bottle for it sometimes. They get overawed by certain things. And this is what makes Kobbie, as much talent as he has to produce it. And his breathing, his lack of nerves, it seems, and the ability to perform, no matter if he's playing a reserve game or playing against Man City or Liverpool, he can perform at that same level. That's what makes him a really quality player. Calmness, composure, and able to deliver when it counts. Kobbie Mainoo, you're back in the run-ins. We missed you. It's like having a new signing, as Mr. B said in our group chat the other day. I'm really grateful for him. But once again, it just comes down to having composure, to be able to breathe and to deliver when the lights are on. And that's what he does every time. Be nice if we could hear you, Rebel.
Oops, my apologies. I didn't put the Mr. B and put myself on mute.
Don't get flustered. Don't get flustered. Do a Kobbie Mainoo. Just be calm.
So, Mr. B, I'm going to go through some Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank quotes with you, and obviously would like to get your views at the end. So, He said if there's one player who has been the biggest winner since Carrick arrived, it isn't Fernandes, but instead it's his replacement as Casemiro's partner, Kobbie and Mainoo. After spending the first half of the season surplus to requirements, Mainoo has since made a mockery of his former boss with 2 top-class performances against the league's 2 best teams and midfielders in Rodri and Declan Rice. Now, while appearing on Sky Sports with Jamie Carragher to pick a possible World Cup squad, Hasselbank spoke lots of praise for Mainoo. He makes Bruno Fernandes play better because he gives him the ball and takes the ball in tight areas. Do you agree with that?
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. You've seen his technical ability. We've seen it. I think what is strange is that he wasn't played for whatever reason. Look, there's no point in going over that. It's just gonna get me mad because I don't know the reason why he wasn't playing. But all you can do is when you've been given a chance to do anything, you take the chance. He's taken the chance. The England talk seems to be very premature for me, considering he's only had 2 games. What I will say to that is, obviously, managers, coaches, Tuchel, they already know about his ability. You can't pick a player who isn't playing. It doesn't make any sense. So I have no idea when the next England call-up is. Not that I'm really bothered, to be fair. But I hope he does get the call-up. I think it will be soon, considering it might be 10 games, it might be 15, I don't know, 10 games, 12 games, or I have no idea. All he can do is take the chance, like he has. And if he gets the opportunity, he probably will. He probably will take his chance. I don't know who England pick in his position. Who are his rivals for his position? Because if it's players like Gallagher, then he's in. You look at Carrick, he's in. Not Carrick. Declan Rice. But it's strange that Declan Rice played on Saturday. The last time Kobbie played, actually full game, Declan Rice was invisible, I'm sure. And he made him invisible again. People need to put some praise on his name. It's not a coincidence that Mr. Rice had been dominating, every other game, that, people are putting him in their fantasy. They're saying he's a future Arsenal captain, which he probably is. But the fact that we had our little youth boy shut him down again, because it's not the first time it's happened, I think he's showing his levels and he's showing his class. The thing I worry about is that we as fans get too hyped about his performances. He's done well. The important parts of his game, the passing, he's kept his pass, and the amount of distance that he's running, considering he didn't have the running power, quote unquote, by some fussy, he's done really well. He's been our top distance covering against Arsenal and against Man City. So long may it continue. Long may it continue.
Just before we get on to the next part of the quote, Stephanie is telling us that Mainoo is allowed to play by Casemiro and he in turn enables Bruno to shine in his best position. Midfield trio complements each other. So that suggests that whoever ends up being in the Casemiro role and the Bruno role next year needs to have the same sort of dynamics that they can link up and actually be a cohesive unit, which I think is a fair point.
You know what's interesting, Rebel, because Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, I mean, he done wonders at Burton, didn't he? As a manager, he went down low in the leagues and really turned them around. You go and look at his record, amazing, and really nice character as well. When you see him as a pundit, but what he done, what people don't fail to have forgotten, he was part of the England setup as well, so he can talk. He's qualified to talk about England's international level because he was part of that coaching staff, So what he's saying here is a huge endorsement when you consider the other players around. We've noticed in the last few years, it's been Declan Rice, it's been Anderson, it's been Bellingham, and the Aston Villa boy, Morgan
Rogers.
So those 4 are sort of dead certs based on who's been playing. They've been playing, and they're talking now Morgan Rogers or Bellingham for a position because it seems like Anderson and Rice. Yeah, it seems like Anderson and Rice have sort of held down their position. So Bellingham and Rodgers look like they're fighting out for that position. And people are going crazy because they're thinking, well, Bellingham a better player, he's playing for Real Madrid. But Rodgers, based on form, has been doing really well. So Tuchel has got a lot of decisions to make when it comes to the World Cup and crunch games. But he can't go wrong by bringing Kobbie back into the fray, because you don't know about temperament of other players. They look good, obviously, but they're not playing in the highest level. People talk about Adam Wharton. He's playing at Blackburn, he's playing at Palace. Spotlight's not mainly on him. Let's see what he's like when he's really crunch time and playing Champions League football and international football. You just don't know. That's why I said in my first speech, I talked about temperament and composure and being able to manage your nerves. And I think Kobbie's proven that. So I think he's ahead of everyone else. And like I said, all these good endorsements are from players that know football and know what it takes to perform on the big stage when the lights are on.
Absolutely. I just want to say hello to Mr. Portis as well. Basically pointing out that 2 months ago we were saying that players weren't good enough, X, Y, and Z, this and that, and all the other things. But after looking at the last 2 games, he's saying clearly it's 100% all on Amran. Stephanie Griffiths is reminding us, please do like, share, subscribe. It's completely free to do so, and it helps the channel so much. So if you wouldn't mind hitting those buttons for us, we would greatly appreciate it. Continuing on the points made by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, he revealed that the current assistant coach, Steve Holland, that Michael Carrick has brought in as part of his ticket for the remainder of the season, was a big admirer of Kobbie while they worked together in the international setup at England. So he's very familiar with how Kobbie plays the ball from the time they came together. We'll go back one. He's very confident on the ball. At times in training for England, me and Steve Holland were looking at ourselves when Steve was doing some drills on the pitch. We're looking at ourselves when he was on the ball, and just, it was so beautiful to see, The boy can play, he wants to play, and he's not scared to play. That's really what you need. Mainoo's been great recently. Clearly the coaching staff believes in him, and he knows exactly how good he can be. And I suppose it's not exactly a surprise, considering Michael Carrick has pretty much got an English backroom team with him in Jonathan Woodgate, Johnny Evans, well, he's Northern Irish, and obviously Holland, being part of the England international setup in the past. So, is Kobbie Mainoo reborn? And if Carrick, obviously at the end of the season, does depart onto pastures new, how critical is it that the manager that comes in takes stock of the rebuilding of Kobbie Mainoo, should he continue in this vein of form, and is able to utilise him in a proper fashion?
Well, look, if he's any manager of any sense, the club aren't going to employing anybody who's playing free at the back. So the four's there. He might not fancy Kobbie. I doubt it. I doubt it very much. But we're all intelligent people in it. If a manager comes in and Kobbie isn't being picked, the manager's an arsehole. I think we've seen it now. I think we've seen it now. The management needs to get that one right, innit? As I said, my preference is what my preference is. Will it change? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think Kobbie is an issue now. I don't think Kobbie is an issue between now and the end of the season. He'll play with the freedom. He's either going to have his summer off, or he's going to gate crash the World Cup party. Either way, we get a player coming back to us who's had a season that he's probably going to want to forget, and a player who's going to have a lot to prove during this international break, during the World Cup if he plays. And if he doesn't, it's not going to be down to it won't be down to the club. So I don't think he has grievances with us in that regard. People are talking about him signing a contract. We had this issue a year and a half ago where he wanted 200 grand. Remember, Yabba, we were talking, is he worth 200 grand, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea what he's worth or what he's not worth, but the club need to make sure that they tie him down before somebody else comes in and starts flattering their lions at him. He loves us. I know he does. But love only takes you so far, you know what I mean? So
It's true, Mr. B, what you say. Honestly, when you look at it, we've lost some talent in the recent years. I mean, even Rashford, we've lost him. Some people might be happy about that, but he's still a talent who come through the academy. And then you look at Mason Greenwood with all the issues he had, but he's out there playing football, and people are comparing him to like one of the best right-sided wingers out there with his abundance of goals this season, last season for Marseille. So Angel Gomez, you know what I felt about him. So we want to change that and make sure we nurture our young people, our young players, and bring them through and let them shine at the club, because I think he's got all the ability to do that. The only thing that we questioned about him when we, because we are critiquing peak players, aren't we? We said, has he got the physicality and the running power? And when you play the way he does, I think that comes out of it. A lot of Spanish players, don't have the physicality, running power. You look at a player like Pilo. He hasn't got the physicality, running power, but he still dominates games and shines with his ability. So I think the same applies with Kobbie. You might have question marks about certain things, and no player is perfect. But when he imposes his game, no one's saying anything about that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I love the guy. I'm really happy that he's with us. And when we're looking at all these other great players like Anderson and Wharton that we wanted, we've got someone sitting there on the bench, as just as good, if not better. So long may it continue that we can develop youngsters. We've got a nice defensive midfielder coming through. We've got Kone as well, and Kobbie's just a shining light right now. So give him the confidence. Don't give him the pay yet. Let him work, and with the wages and all that. We talked about the 200 grand or whatever. Make sure you're wise about that, but keep him hungry at the same time. And I saw a great comment in the chat there that they asked the question: was Amrin trying to sort of do a psychological thing on him, like holding him back and getting him to play? Maybe we don't know what
you said. That it was you that said that about testing people's mettle and trying to get them to their breaking point. You realize Amrin was a motherfucker now, though, right?
Not necessarily. No, I think maybe there's something in it. You say to him, these are the levels. Look at Bruno's levels. You're fighting for his space. That's what he basically said to him. And it's like, you're going to have to sit there and watch and maybe humble him. And maybe he was trying to humble him a little bit to say...
Well, humble him for what, though? Why?
Because he said, based on his comments, remember he said, these youngsters or whatever, they can't just expect too much too soon. You've got to work your way through. And I understand.
It's straight. No, you understand it. But then when you see how Kobbie's been playing, how can you say that you understand it?
Because I think it's the development of a footballer. He's still quite young. You know what I'm saying? He's still quite young.
Oh my! Are you backing Amrin over his behaviour? You're backing him.
No, I'm not backing him. I'm just saying you've seen it done in the past. You've got to develop people, hold them back. Look what happened to Greenwood. It all happened.
Why do you have to hold them back, bro? Why do you have to hold them back? Why can't you just let them go out there and flourish and play?
Because sometimes you want to keep them hungry. You want to make them mature the right way. It's a good way to do things. You got to run. You got to crawl before you can run.
Yeah, but you have to show them something. He never got nothing though, Yabba. Yeah, this is the point. You were talking about a carrot dangling. I get that, and to a certain extent, I get that. But when the carrot keep dangling, you keep doing, and you're not even getting a little sniff or a little nothing of it. What is the point? You lose your motivation. You know what I mean? And I think he broke him. I think he broke Kobbie. To be fair, motivation wise, I think he broke him.
Was a test of character, wasn't it? If he broke him, how can he come back and perform so well?
Because he's not there anymore. Yeah, he's got his internal, but he's got internal. Yeah, it's internal. These are things that you're born with. He's got it internally. Because brother, he could have come back and played like some fussy, and then people would have been saying, "Oh, that's why Amrin didn't play him because he this and he that and he this and he that." No, I just think that Amrin was an arsehole. He tried to break him, and for whatever reason, he's not broken. He's still there. Watch what Kobbie does for us the next up and coming seasons. And I pray to God he plays against that Amrin football team in that pussy old formation. That's what I want. Run past Amrin and give him the bird, bro. That's what he needs to be doing. He disrespected him totally. I will never, ever, ever forgive Amrin for that. Ever.
Well, it's a good point that you make, Mr. V, because obviously we've been complaining about that three at the back, centre-back system for nearly the entire season. And a three-man midfield that Ruben Amorim said would not work, aka Casemiro, Kobbie, and Bruno, did bits against the top two teams in the English Premier League at the moment. So it is something to watch, and we'll obviously carefully watch the games coming forward and hope that Kobbie continues to put pie in his face by putting in those top-class performances. I do want to say hello to a few people: Valentine, Hydro, Chat Sports, Stephanie Griffiths, Vincent Bullock. To answer your question about the Stone Roses collab, if somebody buys it for me as a present, I'll wear it, but I'm not going to give his money. But that's an aside from football. Now, before I get on to topic 2, we're not going to have a discussion on it, but I want to throw a quick stat of the day at you. Since Saint Laman took over in goals for Manchester United Football Club, they have the joint lowest for Premier League defeats since his arrival. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, as they say. But that will be your useless stat for the day, and maybe you might get a bit of use out of it. Now, a man from Cork, a hothead wearing the Manchester United shirt, the lad that squared up to Patrick Vieira and wanted to fight him over he picked on Gary Neville, has pretty much gotten quite saucy about one Michael Carrick. Now, it's a bit ironic considering what ovations he poured an only goal to Solskjaer when Ole was in the same position that Michael Carrick finds himself in now as an interim manager, and we're looking at two very, very different perspectives. Now, I won't go into the outbursts. You can reference it if you want, but what I do want to mention is this headline. It says that Sky Sports must take off Roy Keane of Manchester United matches. He has a lazy, personal, and bitter agenda over Michael Carrick. It is embarrassing, and we have the receipts, writes Daily Mail reporter Nathan Salt. Gentlemen, one of you can go first and tell me your thoughts on Mr. Salt's viewpoint on Messer Keane.
Okay, I'll go first. Look, Roy Keane, you have to respect him. I think he's wise. He knows more. He's more qualified than anyone who's out there who's going to come out and criticize him. It's fair game. It's fair game to sort of, put a question mark out there. We have to be cautious. Do you think Roy Keane wants the best for the football club? I'd say yeah. Okay, and if he might know something we don't know about Carrick, and but what he's basing it on is he doesn't have the experience. And he saw what happened with Ollie. He saw what's happened over the last few years with managers coming in. So he wants the best in class. He doesn't feel Carrick has the credentials to do it. Okay. And he's quite vocal about it. Whereas we're quite emotional right now. We love what he's done in the last couple of games. But we have to be mindful. There's a lot of games to go. And we might, like with Ollie, when we were loving him, we might end up loathing Carrick if things start going wrong again, because it can happen just like that. So I think Roy Keane is right to err on caution with Carrick, and sort of, he's basically saying he ain't got the credentials. So it's down to Carrick to prove him wrong. And that sets it up nicely. Now, Keane's not going to turn around and say, oh, I was wrong. And, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be like, I told you so either. But he's just putting it out there, and it's good. It's good for us to discuss because we want to see what goes on. And I just think that what you need to do now is just go and do your best and then prove people wrong. Like Martinez tried to prove Nicky Butt wrong by ending up scoring or being responsible for one of the goals the other day. That wasn't a good start, but Carrick maybe is 2-0 up against Roy Keane right
now. Obviously, things have come out about Carrick and his wife having a spat with Roy Keane. The one thing with Roy Keane is he don't let nothing go. You saw what he did with Haaland after 4 years, of sitting down waiting. He waited. He never said a word to nobody, and then did the man's career. That is Roy Keane. He's always been volatile. He's always been explosive, and maybe maybe he does have Manchester United's interests at heart, best interests at heart. He wants us to be winning. but I do think it's personal against Michael Carrick and his wife. You can't have a man win. This is Roy Keane's quote. They asked him a question. If he wins all of the games from now till that's all of them, all of the games from now till the end of the season. So that's what plus the 2 that have just gone, an extra 45 points. Roy Keane said he shouldn't get the job. Now, I'm not being funny. Ollie is obviously Roy Keane's boy. And I didn't hear him. I don't hear him cussing Ollie. He makes it look too obvious that he has an issue with Carrick. I mean, he's got an issue with a lot of people at the club, to be fair. But this one actually looks and sounds very, very personal. They're not going to take Roy Keane off. He's box office. That's what they want him on there for. You know, ex-United fan, ex-United player, ex-United captain, who, let's be honest, I actually think he hates Man United. There's aspects of our team that he actually bloody hates. You know, we already know the Ferguson business, but it just seems like he's just bitter and twisted about Carrick getting the opportunity. Is he vexed that he wasn't asked? Is he vexed that Rooney wasn't asked, or isn't part of the you know, is this an explosion of jealousy? Because let's be honest, if they offered him the job, he would take it. You know, as much as he would carry it out, he'd probably say, I wouldn't take it in a month. If they offered him a job, he would take it. And if he turned it down, it would just be, to me, it would be bravado. I don't need it. I don't want it, blah, blah. So either way it worked out, I still think he would have his chest up, you know, his chest out to like a bubble boy. So I think it's bitter. I do. My personal opinion, I think it's bitter. He loves the club, but he has an agenda against Carrick, and it's obvious.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make. Obviously, you referenced the spat that he had with Sir Alex Ferguson, and apparently they still don't talk to this day. I'm not sure if that's been updated in the last year or two, but the last report was that there's still radio silence between those two legends of Manchester United Football Club. Obviously, you can justify a point with footballing reasons, but when you bring the family into it that are not connected with something, that's probably a line that, even if you're 100% right, devalues everything you've said because you've brought in the mother, the wife, the sister, the boyfriend, whatever you have yourself, into it, and everything you've said before that automatically gets deleted from one's memory, and it's bitter, angry man screams about personal relationship of intern manager. And I think it's a shame that he devalued the points that he was making by bringing that up. But you mentioned Wayne Rooney, and I think coincidentally Wayne Rooney was delighted for Michael Carrick to actually get the opportunity and has no real grudges whatsoever towards him. But I suppose when you look at Manchester United Football Club, when you look at the trials that we've been through in the last 13 years, the issues that we've had in terms of structures under a ownership that didn't appear to know what they were doing until a businessman came in and has tried to steady the ship, albeit looking like he was cutting the life and soul out of it by sacking people and all the rest of it. Is this a case of a man that saw his club that he wore the shirt of, that was at the forefront of Premier League competition, that was at the forefront of European competition, that was challenging on all fronts every single season, is just completely and utterly exasperated by what he perceives to be a failure in the way the club has gone in terms of its football direction?
Yeah, look, he knows when someone's reached the heights like he has, you have to listen to the man because he knows what it takes. And he can sit back and say, look, I'm probably the best captain this club's ever had. I was captain during the era where we won. We were most successful as well. So he's got a lot of clout when he talks. So you have to listen. You can't just trash anything he's saying unless you have to look into it and investigate what's really going on. And I know you said the thing about his misses and all that kind of thing. Put that aside. Let's talk about football reasons, right? He wants Man United to be back at the top. Okay, so if he thinks that Carrick is not going to man to do that, a bit like if Paul Scholes, another legend, thinks that Martinez is not the person to take us to the top. As much as it hurts us because we might like these people currently playing, we have to respect where it's coming from. It's coming from proper players who knew the levels. We don't know about the levels. We haven't been to those major trophy levels for a long, long time. So I'm quite inclined to listen to Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, Roy Keane. I'm not saying I take it on board, but I'm going to look at it, investigate it, and say it's a valid point, it's a valid claim from someone who knows their stuff. So let's just leave it as that. And all I'd say is watch this space. Watch this space, because Keane might turn out to be a guru in this sense. Maybe there's something about Carrick, that he hasn't got the kahunas to get over the line. We just don't know. But Carrick, one thing we do know, Carrick won a Champions League. He won league titles as well, Man United. So he knows what it's about. But I don't think jealousy is a part of this.
Yeah, I suppose we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next few weeks. An interesting point was made about Alex Ferguson was powerful enough to resist the Glazers, and that's why we didn't see so much problems during Ferguson's reign, but that's a story for another night. I am going to bring back up the headline, and all I want is a yes or no answer from me. Sky Sports must take Roy Keane off Manchester United matches for the reasons outlined. Yes or no, Yaba?
Absolute bollocks. There's no way he should be removed from Sky. Like Mr. B just said, he's box office. And I love having him on there, You need people like him. He's a big personality, and he's all over the media right now. Maybe it's his gimmick. Maybe it's his gimmick of saying, things that go against the norm and challenging authority and challenging things. That's his gimmick. And this is what he's doing with Carrick right now. So just leave him Libby. Let Roy Keane be who he is, because he's great TV. He's a great watch.
Mr. B, same question. In regards to Manchester United matches, not any other matches that Sky Sports are covering, should Roy Keane be taken off those games?
No. We need to go pick players, and as much as I'm vexed and I'm pissed off with him, we need to get a backbone in it. We, as I said, me and this woke culture already. So, no, I don't think they should take him off. The more that he tries to dig United out, the more that us as a fan base, not fight against Roy Keane. That's not what I'm saying. But the more that we unite behind one common goal, then I'm all for it. I don't like the division at the club. I'd rather everybody just got on well, but no life is like that. No, not even family is like that, let alone a multi-million-pound business. So Roy Keane, he's getting paid to chat breeze. He's getting paid to cut out all of the bullshit and go straight for the throat. As long as he don't swear, then they're quite happy to have Roy Keane on, and he's quite happy to keep cussing United. It's going to get to the stage, let's hope, where he's got nothing to cuss about.
Absolutely.
So go.
What said Mr. B?
Yeah. Just before we finish up, Stephanie Griffith saying she'd rather take Nave off before the boy Keno. Hussein Samin, and apologies if I'm after butchering that name, can't maybe not be what Pep was to Barcelona, but why can't he do for us what Zidane did for Real Madrid? Maybe that's a show that we can have a discussion on tomorrow. Thanks for the suggestion. Valentine is calling the writer a clown, and you put it too far around there, to be fair, because I don't even know who this Nathan Salt character is. I just saw the headline and said, you know what, no, we'll have a good chat about that. Mills is saying, utter baloney, just give Salty satisfaction. And and then Stephanie obviously is in with her usual humour in terms of salt and pepper. But coming up during the rest of the week, obviously we will have some element of a news show tomorrow. Then on Thursday, I'm not sure if we're doing the preview on Thursday, but
it'll be the preview on Thursday. It'll be the preview Thursday.
And then on Friday night, pull up.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's the cooking on the Tony, innit? Oh my god! I've had 4 or 5 days to simmer down, boy. Oh shit! Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be beautiful. I'm really gonna enjoy Friday, boy.
So what I would recommend before you join Mr. B on Friday night, pop your popcorn, get some nice butter melted into it, pull up a glass of your favourite adult beverage, and just kick back, relax, and watch Tony take his licks. And to be fair to Tony Lee, he's not hiding. He came straight out and told us, I'll be here, I'll take my licks, they're due, and I will receive payment. So all credit to Tony, but join us on Friday night for that. I'm sure Mr. B will have a barrage ready for him. And then, of course, we will have Manchester United versus Fulham at the weekend, and Rio will be back with the aftermath then the following Monday. So that's what's happening over the next 7 days. I want to thank everyone for joining us here on the Man United Agenda. From me, from Yaba, and from Mr. B. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.